Welcome to another episode of China Update, where I provide you guys with the most up-to-date political, economic and geostrategic analysis on the world's number 2 economy. My name is Tony. Let's jump in. Okay, happy Thursday everybody. The highly transmissible BA5 subvariant of COVID-19 has spread to small outbreaks in Xi'an as well as the capital Beijing. This latest surge in cases looks to have legs as authorities scramble to stamp out infections. Yesterday, officially recognized cases were just shy of 400. While this sounds tiny, we remember that under zero COVID policy, even one case can result in large-scale restrictions and mass testing of millions in locality. For example, a very nervous Shanghai listed 26 addresses of buildings under lockdown on yesterday, after the discovery of just 2 community-level infections, though the day before, Tuesday, Shanghai recorded 24 new infections, the most in 3 weeks, renewing fears that the city may see new waves of lockdowns less than a month after reopening. In Beijing, the capital, 12 infections were detected as of Wednesday that were linked to a person returning from overseas who completed 14 days of quarantine at a Shanghai hotel, but later tested positive again. The person had the highly infectious BA5.2 subvariant. The fact that it took this long before the infection was detected does put pressure on China's recent relaxation of border control measures, including the shortening of quarantine time. Beijing announced yesterday that it will ban most people who have not received a COVID-19 vaccination from entering public venues from July the 11th, with the deputy director of the city's health commission expressing at a press conference event that apart from those exempt for medical reasons, people must have at least one COVID-19 shot to enter, quote, after-school training institutions, libraries, museums, cinemas, gyms, internet cafes, and performance venues, among others, end quote. Authorities in Xi'an, population 13 million, have expressed that the city is conducting temporary measures in some public places for a week, but they hope to avoid a full city-wide lockdown. We remember that Xi'an suffered a full city lockdown for over a month last year. The current situation is very uncertain and risk of further spread is high, but even if these outbreaks are brought under control, the uncertainty alone is hurting confidence throughout the economy. Quote, the worst may indeed be over, but the zero-COVID framework is here to stay, and new outbreaks in China and elsewhere serve as a warning that further severe lockdowns on the scale of that in Shanghai cannot be ruled out. End quote. Next up, yesterday, Wednesday, the heads of the UK's MI5 and the FBI of the United States gave a joint statement warning of the threats posed by the People's Republic of China. While the points raised by the two officials have been discussed by Five Eyes intelligence before, the joint appearance is noteworthy. Indeed, the event hosted at MI5 headquarters in the United Kingdom marked the first time that FBI and MI5 leaders have, quote, shared a public platform, end quote. Ken McCallum, head of MI5, the United Kingdom's domestic counterintelligence and security agency, said that his service had more than doubled its work against PRC activity in the last 3 years and would be doubling it again. Also, MI5 is now running 7 times as many investigations related to PRC activities compared to 2018. The audience was business leaders, with the FBI's Ray warning, quote, the Chinese government is set on stealing your technology, whatever it is that makes your industry tick, and using it to undercut your business and dominate your market, end quote. And that in the event of an invasion of Taiwan, it would, quote, represent one of the most horrific business disruptions the world has ever seen, end quote. Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content, don't forget to hit the like button, it's a huge help, and anyone who wants to go the extra mile and help keep China Update sustainable, Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee links are in the description below. This is also a tremendous help. As always, thank you so much everybody for the ongoing support. Yesterday, Wednesday, officials in Thailand pledged to finish its long-delayed high-speed rail system linking the capital, Bangkok, to China through Laos within 6 years, with the first 2 stages of the $12 billion project to be completed by 2026. The announcement came one day after the Thai Prime Minister met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. According to the original plans, Thailand's part of the system comprises over 600 kilometers, approximately 380 miles, starting in the capital, Bangkok, heading north, then crossing a specially built bridge over the Mekong River to connect to the Laos-China line and thus the wider Sino-Southeast Asian high-speed rail network, which proponents hope will one day connect China's capital, Beijing, to Singapore. The project is part of China's Belt and Road Initiative. The Thai government has expressed that the project will support regional connectivity and promote logistics, trade and economic development. Laos opened its high-speed rail line in December of last year. The final cost was $6 billion, about 1/3 of the landlocked nation's GDP. And last up, the housing market. The big news on the housing development sector front is, of course, the billion-dollar bond default of Shimao Group Holdings Limited to global creditors over the weekend. The luxury builder, China's 14th largest builder or developer, was once considered a safer developer than larger players like China Evergrande Group and Sunic China Holdings Limited. However, as investor confidence in the entire industry collapsed this year, Shimao's dollar bond trading dropped to distressed levels. Andrew Collier, a managing director of Orient Capital Research, expressed in an interview yesterday, quote, "The Shimao default shows that the property restrictions are increasing the stress on developers and that the government is not backing down from reducing property prices." End quote. It means they're not backing down from allowing property prices to drop. Creditors are not happy, of course, and are now organizing themselves. Bloomberg Hong Kong reports yesterday that an executive at investment bank Holy Hun Locky Inc. asked Shimao bondholders to join its creditor group and sign a non-disclosure agreement. Its analysts observed that the emergence of multiple creditor groups after a default can make it harder for bondholders to advocate for their interests, particularly if rival cohorts are formed. Quote, "For offshore investors, the key worry is that Shimao will likely prioritize payments to onshore creditors. The restructuring process will certainly be lengthy, given that the company has a large amount of off-balance sheet debts that need to be accounted for." End quote. Now, while we're on the property market, let's end the video with this observation from Professor Michael Pettis of Peking University's Guanghua School of Management on the situation we covered the week before last, that of some property developers accepting wheat, garlic, watermelon, and other produce as a down payment for houses. Quote, "Some Chinese property firms are accepting produce as partial payment for homes. Why? To disguise price cuts. As one analyst points out, local governments do not allow price cuts at will, so developers can only sneakily find ways to cut prices. This shows just how sensitive homeowners and local governments are to a weakening property market, and implies, among other things, that new home prices may be declining by more than the official statistics imply." End quote. Okay, that is today's episode. As always, thank you so much, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow.